Yes!
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist. I am currently at EVO right now, battling in Smash, Street Fighter V, and Tekken 7, while most of you at home are either watching this, or you went and saw Ghostbusters 2016. And let me tell you, I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna go see it, so no spoilers, even though you're gonna spoil it for me. And I thought, to celebrate me at EVO having a good time, and Ghostbusters reboot coming out, I thought, let's talk today about Ghostbusters the video game, and not the one that came out this year. I'm talking about the one that was published by Atari about 8 years ago. I think it was 8 years ago. Pretty sure it's 8 years ago. That's what the script read, but I could be wrong. Can I get it? Is it 8? I hope it's 8. I'm not good at math. That's why I'm here. Math. It gets you here. It's a slogan for math. It's been a long time, but everyone's got Ghostbusters on the brain again. After the original Ghostbusters movie took the pop culture world by storm in 1984, and after its successful sequel expanded upon the Ghostbusters universe in 1989, the franchise kind of went into hibernation for a while. Sure, there have been all kinds of comics and cartoons featuring the Ghostbusters since then, but they haven't reached the same height of cultural awareness in over 30 years. Which is a shame, because the Ghostbusters are some of the baddest dudes in fiction. Now just think about it. They're just blue-collar dudes who use their wits to overcome beings way more powerful than them. Mere mortals using science to battle against gods, demons, and everything in between. Kind of like Batman, if Batman lived paycheck to paycheck. But back in 2006, the guys at Zootfly took it upon themselves to just start making a Ghostbusters video game before they even secured the rights. Meanwhile, Sierra Entertainment and Terminal Reality were meeting with Sony to discuss making an official Ghostbusters game after they had seen the impressive technical videos of Zootfly's work in progress. Eventually, all of the parties were able to collaborate, and with the help of some of the original Ghostbusters cast members, a brand new entry in the Ghostbusters franchise was taking shape. And in 2009, Atari released Ghostbusters the video game to coincide with the 25th anniversary of the first film. Fans of the Ghostbusters absolutely ate up the game, and critics praised its visuals, mechanics, and accurate depiction of the Ghostbusters world. And now that the new Ghostbusters reboot is here, regardless of how you might feel about it, don't judge it until you see it. If you choose not to see it, that's fine, but don't judge it until you see it. It may end up being great, it may end up being awful, but just don't judge it till you see it. Raptors, where was I? Sorry. Oh yeah, now that the reboot is here, it's a great time to revisit Ghostbusters the video game. Raptors. Welcome to 1991. The members of Boyz II Men are still repping Motown Philly, Kentucky Fried Chicken has just officially changed its name simply to KFC, and the Ghostbusters are doing pretty well for themselves. It's been 2 years since their battle with Vigo the Carpathian, aka Vigo the Butch, aka Vigo! And the boys in gray have managed to fully resurrect the Ghostbusters brand, having now become officially contracted by the city of New York. But the biggest change to their team is their brand new recruit, whom the player takes control of for the duration of the game. We never learn the new guy's name since the old-timers want to avoid getting too attached to him. Hey, busting ghosts is a dangerous job. I'm sure it's got a pretty fast turnaround rate too. And the rookie does stay pretty quiet, which means that he could just be shy, but it's more likely that none of the other guys ever let him get a word in edgewise. Just as the kid is strapping on his proton pack for the first time, a mysterious psychokinetic energy pulse emanating from the Natural History Museum's exhibit on Gozerian artifacts pulses through the city. The shockwave releases Slimer from his cage within Ghostbusters HQ, and the little spud escapes back to the place where the Ghostbusters first encountered him, the Sedgwick Hotel. But while the fellows are tracking Slimer down and once again causing significant property damage to a swanky-ass hotel, Things are growing chaotic on the streets of New York City. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man has somehow remanifested itself and is tearing apart the city, seemingly searching for something. It turns out that something is Dr. Eliza Selwyn, an expert on Gozer, which means that she's somehow connected to all of the undead hullabaloo that's recently started up. Now, it's up to the rookie and the Ghostbusters to figure out what caused the supernatural shockwave, bop all the ghosts running amok in Manhattan, and somehow get paid to do it all. Which won't be easy since Mayor Mulligan has recently appointed classic Ghostbusters nemesis Walter Peck to keep an eye on the boys to make sure that they're doing things right by the book. And in case you're wondering, yes, this man still has no dick. No, that's not fair. It's been 7 years since we've last seen him. Maybe he's changed.
And my first official act is going to be suspending you clown's operating license.
Yo, why you hating, Peck? I know I've said this before, and it might even be a big cliche at this point, but Ghostbusters the video game truly is a love letter to Ghostbusters fans everywhere, and may as well be considered a Ghostbusters simulator. I know, Arkham City was a Batman sim, Spider-Man 2 was a Spidey sim, but before this game, I never thought anything could make me feel so much like a surly paranormal eliminator, and boy am I glad that I was wrong. The game's authenticity can certainly be attributed in part to just how many members of the original productions returned to reprise their roles. Dan Aykroyd? Absolutely. Harold Ramis? You betcha, God rest his funny ass soul. Ernie Hudson? In there. Annie Potts? We got one. William Atherton? Affirmative. They even managed to lock down Bill. I seem incredibly too cool, but I'm always the last to hold out for anything Ghostbusters related Murray. And hey, wherever Bill goes, his brother Brian Doyle Murray can't be far behind. And the best part is that many of these fine actors sound like they haven't missed a beat since 1984.
Had to be some sort of psi energy pulse. Substantial, a significant collected and centralized necromantic convulsion, level 7 or more.
Some of them sound a bit different, which is understandable. Time changes your voice.
Is a level 7, whatever, bad or very bad?
But also, some of these dudes sound like they're phoning things in just a little bit.
Here's an easy one. Would you like to go out for Thai, Mexican, Japanese?
I know it's just a video game, but you can at least sound interested. Bill? I can't stay mad at you, you old sourpuss you. The game's writing is often genuinely funny, thanks to Aykroyd and Ramis who redonned their writers' hats for this game. But the script isn't just good for a laugh. It also feels like something you would have gotten out of an actual Ghostbusters film. See, with a lot of licensed games, the main characters will often get put into situations or take certain actions that seem a bit incongruous with their usual MO. Or sometimes, the pacing of the adventure in the movie version can feel completely different to the pacing in the video game version of something. This is usually done in order to facilitate what's most important when it comes to video games, the gameplay. But Ghostbusters is totally different. Every element of the narrative and world building feels like it was either pulled directly from the source material or was developed as a natural logical evolution of that source material. In short, this game feels right at home in the greater Ghostbusters universe. And the universe that this game has built for itself is surprisingly impressive. The backgrounds are nice and lifelike, often with lots of detail. The game's lighting is also notable, allowing the mood and atmosphere to effortlessly jump from tense and action-packed to light and comedic to spooky, scary skeletons. And because you wouldn't feel much like a Ghostbuster if you couldn't actually casually destroy things, almost everything in the playable environments is somehow destructible. If you can see it, odds are you can probably ruin it. Except for, oddly enough, this Doritos truck right here. Just about every other car is bustable, except this goddamn Doritos truck. You know, I guess the only thing more powerful than a proton stream is the power of product placement, Doritos. The game's many locations include both brand new areas as well as plenty of places that the Ghostbusters have visited before, such as the Sedgwick Hotel and the New York Public Library. And eagle-eyed fans will find countless references to the first two films, as well as some of the most obscure corners of Ghostbusters history, like some equipment from the real Ghostbusters and Extreme Ghostbusters cartoons. And look, it's Vigo, the ruler of the earth. Why are you came?
So why are you came?
That is an actual line in the movie. Almost the entire game's soundtrack is pulled directly from the first movie's score, which ends up working pretty well, but the sound effects are particularly well executed. Just like a Ghostbusters movie, this game has a few creepy moments thrown in amongst the laughs, and the whispering voices and strange background noises definitely help to make those occasions extra freaky deaky. Not to mention the unmistakable sound of a proton stream tearing through atoms. That's one of a kind, baby. There's just so much love and care put into every little detail. Ghostbusters the video game is a standout amongst licensed games and is the closest thing we'll probably ever get to a Ghostbusters 3 film. The source material is treated with such reverence that this game could stand toe-to-toe with any other official Ghostbusters merchandise in terms of fun. That's why this game is my favorite licensed video game of all time. It's better than the cereal, it's better than the weird slot machine, it's better than Ecto Cooler. Well, hold on, I take that back. It's tied with Ecto Cooler. Hashtag not an ad. Hashtag could be an ad. Hashtag please, for the love of God, Coca-Cola, send me some goddamn Ecto Cooler. In Ghostbusters the video game, you're paid good money to rid the city of unwanted spooks and specters. You'll be accomplishing this by blasting away at waves of enemies with your proton pack in third person. While some enemies, like these marshmallow minions that spawn from Stay Puft, will explode as soon as their health is depleted, actual ghosts must be captured in a genuine Ghostbusters trap once their health is low enough. And I just realized that ghosts are Pokemon. Guys, ghosts are Pokemon. Yeah, for real though, the process of wrangling a ghost into a trap as it struggles to escape the trap's pull is just about the most Ghostbustery feeling thing you could do in a game. Plus, you get paid for each baddie you defeat. Sounds pretty sweet to me. The game has a simple linear structure that presses the player through room after room in order to fight wave after wave of enemies. But your proton stream isn't your only weapon. Egon has been busy upgrading the rookie's proton pack with lots of new offensive capabilities. Mostly because none of the veteran Ghostbusters are dumb enough to test them themselves. But being Egon's guinea pig is worth it because these weapons are all absolutely badass. Firstly, they're the Boson Darts, which are the alternate fire mode of your default blast stream. Think of them as slow-moving balls of energy that deal rocket launcher-like damage to anything they touch. And that includes you, so be careful not to stand too close to the blast, because I don't think the Ghostbusters provide workers' comp. But as you progress, you'll unlock even more modes for your proton pack, each with their own set of weapons and abilities. Like this dark matter generator, its primary fire is a shotgun-like blast that shreds through physical objects, and the alternate fire mode is a stasis beam that will gradually slow and eventually freeze your enemies in place. The composite particle system is a mode that allows you to first paint a target with your primary fire, and then have all of your subsequent alternate shots automatically home in on that target. Yeah, sure, run all the way like you're ghosts. You're already dead. What's the point? Yeah, go ahead and run, buddy. And the slime blower makes its glorious return from Ghostbusters 2, this time with some upgraded functionality. Slinging slime neutralizes the caustic black slime that you'll encounter throughout the game, and reveals hidden items and passages too. But the slime tether weapon is simply the best. You fire one end onto one thing and the other onto another, and boom, they come together. You can stick furniture to ceilings, you can use it to create platforms for yourself, you can even bungee ghosts directly into traps. That's gotta be humiliating. None of these weapons have ammo per se, but if you land the trigger long enough with any of them, you'll overheat the pack, forcing an automatic venting of the system. But if you want to avoid the temporary lockout that comes with an overheat, you can manually vent your pack at any time. You can keep your eye out on how close you are to an overheat by watching the red meter on the side of your pack. As a matter of fact, just about everything you need to know about your character's current condition is displayed somewhere on your pack. How much health you have left, how much health your current target has left, what weapon mode you've currently selected. It's all easily discernible from the subtle and well-designed lights and doohickeys on the pack. This design choice leaves the rest of the screen immaculately clear of the visual UI clutter that usually comes with games. Not everything is displayed on your pack, but for the most part, this game is as clean as hell. But not all of your ghost-busting tools are weapons of mass destruction. You've also got a PKE meter to help you track stuff down, whether they be hidden enemies, collectibles, or other supernatural phenomenon. It hangs from the side of your hip and lights up when you're close to a secret. But if you want to actively search or scan your environment, you can go into first person with the PKE meter, initiating a kind of detective mode. But the Ghostbusters aren't really detectives, so it's kind of more like an exterminator mode, I guess? Con artist mode? Yeah, that sounds about right. Successfully scanning a cursed item adds it to your collection back at the firehouse. Fully scanning enemies will add their information to your online edition of Tobin's Spirit Guide. Being able to discern the attack patterns, weaknesses, and personal backstories of all of the game's enemies goes a long way toward keeping them from seeming too much alike. And speaking of enemies, you'll encounter lots and lots of different types of baddies besides ghosts on your adventure. You'll come up against gargoyles, book golems, and candelabras of death. Just like increasing the Ghostbusters arsenal, it was a smart move to amp up their rogue galleries as well. The game's bosses are a bit tougher though. They're usually either extremely powerful ghosts or some kind of supernatural freak that utilizes its environment to try and take you out. Defeating them usually requires some sort of environmental gimmick on your part as well. But all in all, they're pretty well executed and are a nice escalation of the regular busting gameplay. But sometimes your foes will get the best of you, and when your health depletes, you'll be knocked down on the ground, like a turtle on its back, until one of your teammates can come over and revive you. The same goes for your crew. If one of them goes down, it's up to you to help them get back on their feet again. First rule of ghost busting, never go in alone. Like the way Ray did when he went up against Casper's uncles. I'm calling bullshit. This is non-canon as fuck. Even the nameless rookie could dominate these clowns by himself. I don't care how stinky or fat or stretchy they are. You know what? Fuck. Bust Casper while we're at it. He knows what he did. Fuck 4-year-old ghost. Let's go. Is he 4? How old is Casper? Does anyone know how old Casper is? Hold on. Fuck this. 1 second. Ghost age. What the fuck? Let's see. He is 12 years old. Still, 4 to 12, 8 years, I don't care. Let's bust that 12-year-old ghost. Fuck it. Weird bros. But like I said, ghost busting has always been a team sport, which is why Ghostbusters the video game includes multiplayer functionality. You can hop online to cooperate and compete across various multiplayer modes. These include containment, in which you have to capture a set of ghosts within a time limit, destruction, where you have to obliterate ghost spawning artifacts, and then there's slime dunk, which involves dunking Slimer into traps to gain as many points as possible. I think it's pretty clear which Ghostbuster came up with that mode. Playing multiplayer is surprisingly a great time. It feels appropriately fleshed out and not tacked on. The problem is that since this game came out about 8 years ago and hasn't had any online support since, the community for it is a bit dead, no pun intended. It can take a long time to find a match if you're by yourself, and it can take even longer to convince your friend to fire up their copy of Ghostbusters in 2016. But when multiplayer works, it works. Unfortunately for you PS3 users out there, the Atari servers were shut down, so you can only play online on the 360. And actually, it's kind of hard to find a hard copy of the game on the 360. You can't buy digitally, but physical copies actually are kind of expensive. Ghostbusters the video game knocks it out of the park when it comes to how it plays. You think that a game that tries to do so many different things would suffer in quality, but somehow this jack of all trades has mastered most of them. The combat feels great, collecting stuff is neat, and the multiplayer is surprisingly fun, when you can find a match. I have to admit it, Ray Parker Jr. was right. Busting makes me feel good. Like, really good. Like, I think I might have a problem. Ray Parker Jr., why didn't you fucking warn me? You've had years. The Ghostbusters have been working overtime, shutting down paranormal nodes throughout the city. These nodes, created by the evil Gozer-worshipping cult leader Ivo Shandor, are designed to open up portals from the ghost world to the living world. So far, the Ghostbusters have neutralized nodes located at the museum, the Sedgwick, public library, and at a hellish private island owned by Shandor himself. But when they return home, the guys discover that their place has been royally trashed, poor Dr. Selwyn has been kidnapped, and their containment unit has once again been purposefully cracked open. You guys gotta get some velvet rope to put around that thing. No one's crossing the velvet rope, but thankfully, they've got a lead. Most of the paranormal activity seems to be converging around Central Park. By the time our heroes arrive, the park has already been merged with the ghost world, creating a nightmarish bog full of gravestones and hostile spirits. It's like the real Central Park at night, only less dangerous. After battling their way into the innermost sanctum, the Ghostbusters find Dr. Selwyn and Peck imprisoned. That's when the true mastermind behind it all reveals himself. It's Brian Doyle Murray! We trusted you, Brian! Why do you think we always let you tag along? Poor Mayor Mulligan has been possessed by Shandor's spirit all along. And once the Ghostbusters shut down his nodes, thus preventing him from ascending to godhood, he hatched a plan B. Sacrifice Dr. Selwyn, who, as it turns out, is his descendant, and use the energy from the ghosts released from the containment unit to become godlike instead. See, I like a megalomaniacal Spectre who knows how to adapt on the fly. That's my Spectre. That's Spectre for 2016. Fuck Trump, fuck Hillary. That Spectre's my man. Defeating Shandor involves more than just directly attacking him, since he'll just regenerate any damage you do to him. In order to keep him from healing, you've got to destroy the 4 green crystals around the room that are empowering him. Once the crystals are down, a portal to the ghost world will appear, and you can use your proton stream to wrestle his ass into the void. But as he gets sucked in, Shandor pulls all 5 Ghostbusters in with him. You know, I guess in this dimension he's a bit more comfortable letting his freaky flag fly, because now he looks like something out of Fantasia. Now that he's in his final form, he's got some new attacks to go with it. He'll throw boulders at you, and he can make flames erupt from the ground. After damaging him enough, he'll retreat to the middle of the arena and summon 4 more crystals that begin to heal him. You can take these out easily since they don't have any protection like those first set of crystals did. Soon, he'll go back to the outer rim of the stage and begin firing boulders at you once again. Wash, rinse, repeat, and he'll be busted in no time. Outside of his attacks that can wipe you in one shot, Shandor is kind of a puny god. Once the Ghostbusters catch wind of just how much of a wuss this guy is, they whip out their ultimate attack once again, crossing the streams. They incinerate Shandor and blow themselves back into the living world. They rescue Dr. Selwyn, humiliate Peck one last time for good measure, and everything goes back to normal. Venkman somehow gets a kiss from Dr. Selwyn despite being the chauvinistic ass that he always is. God bless you, Bill Murray, never change. And during the credits, we hear that the rookie sadly won't be a Ghostbuster for much longer. There simply isn't enough work to go around now that Shandor is toast. But the kid is offered a very lucrative deal. He can start his own Ghostbusters franchise in another city. Now guys, I would give up Diet Peach Snapple for life if I could run my own ghost-busting business here in LA. Legitimately. I got it. It would be me, Frasier, Rihanna, and of course, Grant Kirkhope. Oh, dude, we need someone to answer the phones. Got it. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We're ready to believe you. At the very least, The Rock could probably rock bottom a ghost. I'd love to see that. That'd be tight. Between cursed artifacts, equipment upgrades, and the many ghosts and goblins waiting to be scanned, there are a lot of things to collect in Ghostbusters. To start off, cursed artifacts are little pieces of occult memorabilia and haunted objects that are strewn across the game's 7 levels. When your PKE meter starts glowing blue, you know you're near one of these elusive pieces of paranormal history. These artifacts include things like paintings that change depending on how you view them and an archangel's gallbladder. Once you scan the item, you'll add it to your collection, allowing you to read up on just what makes it so cursed. And as far as random collectibles go, there are actually a lot of thought put into these. Thanks, Atari. Now I know what it's like to have a pair of possessed bell-bottoms stalk me. Get the hell away from me, you undead hippie! Although you'll automatically unlock many of your Proton Pack upgrades as you play, there are some augmentations that must be purchased in the in-game store with the cash you earn by eliminating those pesky ghosts. This is essentially Ghostbusters' equivalent of leveling up your character, so it's a good idea to upgrade whenever you've got enough cash. You can buff yourself with perks like quicker freezing on your stasis stream and increased overheating resistance. By the time you've collected every upgrade, no ghost will be able to stand in your way. Nope, not even you, Casper. Get Bob like the rest. I'm gonna target combo the shit out of you. Scanning ghosts and learning about them is seriously one of the coolest features of the game. It's reminiscent of the scanning feature in the Metroid Prime series in that you're encouraged to complete your bestiary 100%. Playing through the game while making sure to collect everything will earn you most of the game's achievements. There are a few pain-in-the-necks achievements, such as having to complete the game while racking up at least $3 million in property damage and and completing the game again while doing no more than $100,000 in property damage. But the real nightmare begins right here when you face the multiplayer achievements. It's not even that you're required to be some sort of superhuman and beat everyone online. In fact, what the achievements ask of you is honestly pretty reasonable, assuming that you play the game somewhat regularly. Play one of each online game type, capture a few special most wanted ghosts that only appear in multiplayer, but that's just it. No one's playing this game regularly anymore. The achievements that would naturally come to you over time are now almost impossible to obtain since Ghostbusters multiplayer community is basically as dead as a doornail. No one's playing Ghostbusters, no one, and I can't blame them. It's a fantastic game, but it came out nearly 8 years ago. I get it, you guys. I get it. Some of these achievements become ridiculous when it can take forever to find a game. Complete a game at each location? How? Earn 30 medals? With whom? Earn $2.5 million on Xbox Live? Who's gonna pay me? Atari has been around for ages. The only way I was able to complete this game was by buying another copy and having my good friend Al boot up another Xbox right next to me. I'll be honest, the multiplayer games with a friend were great, but it sucks that I had to spend extra real-life money in order to complete the game on one console. It almost felt like Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow all over again when you had to buy all 3 versions of the game if you wanted to catch them all. Oh my god, I was right again, guys. Ghostbusting really is just catching Pokemon. Ghostbusters is always fun. Even with the grinding out of the multiplayer achievements, when you get to the actual gameplay, it's a blast. And if you're a fan of the Ghostbusters franchise as a whole, then I don't think anything will stop you from loving this game. It's that good, and it's that respectful to the source material. Even playing through the game on professional mode, which makes it so that about every enemy is capable of killing you on their own, it's still a good time. It may take a while to get used to all of the different enemy types and their various attacks, but the game really never gives you that much trouble. Except, and this is the only bad thing I have to say about this game, I talked briefly about the multiplayer achievements and how they kind of were messed up because you need a friend to play them. Well, it turns out that even that is not good enough to complete this game. See, when Atari went bankrupt and Terminal Reality couldn't support the game anymore, it left Ghostbusters the video game's online functions kind of weird. They shut down the PS3 servers, and there were dozens and dozens of game-breaking bugs on the 360 online servers, to the point that even till today, if you bought this game brand new and tried to complete it, there's a good chance you're going to put a lot of extra hours trying to farm it to completion. And you know what? You might get lucky like me and do it, but there are dozens and dozens of threads out there that say this game is royally f***ed. For instance, the Most Wanted Ghost achievement requires you to capture every type of Slimer. However, Slimer doesn't always spawn when he should, so you have to grind and grind and grind and grind and hope that he shows up. Another example is the Power-Up achievement. Being Egon's guinea pig is great, but when you collect all the power-ups, you're supposed to get an achievement online, and it wouldn't proc. I did it dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and eventually it just worked. So, as a completionist, I would not recommend doing the multiplayer aspect of the game, for achievements at least. But casually playing with friends and the overall other experience of the game, that stuff's fantastic. In my playthrough of Ghostbusters, there were 5 campaign total playthroughs, if you count the online ones of course, 20 proton upgrades purchased, 42 cursed artifacts collected, 53 spirits scanned, 20 most wanted ghosts defeated, 128 online games completed because the multiplayer aspect is broken, 62 hours of total playtime, the vast majority of it going to multiplayer, well over $6.5 million in property damage caused, and 36 cases of Ecto Cooler ordered off of eBay. I lost you once, Ecto Cooler, never again. Ghostbusters the video game is still an incredible game all these years later. If you're the completionist type, then you're going to struggle with those online achievements a lot. Guys, you're going to struggle a lot. You have no idea. But if you're just along for an enjoyable ride in the Ecto 1, then buckle up, dude. But if you can't find this game, you can also give that new Ghostbusters game a try. Grant Kirkhope did the soundtrack for it, so at least that's tight. Ghostbusters the video game is a awesome good time. It has a great story. The gameplay is awesome. You feel like you're in the middle of the Ghostbusters universe. However, multiplayer, it's a good time, it's fun, except it's really buggy. And you've got the achievements and no one playing with you. it creates this weird motion in the ocean that you may want to walk away from that motion. Don't go swimming in that ocean. With that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of finish it.
Finish it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. Question of the day, who's your favorite Ghostbuster and why? I'm gonna say Egon. I love Harold Ramis. He's a tight guy. Rest in peace, my man. I wish you were still with us. But in the meantime, now if you excuse me, let's just keep trying to blow up this Doritos truck, because it's just not happening. Doritos. Not happening. That's the slogan for Doritos. Doritos. I am your official salesman. Doritos. It's not happening. I got you. I got you. Guys, look, I know you're all like, don't sell out, but I'll sell out for Doritos. It's not happening.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek.